healing grow.
Okay, so let's go on the record in the matter of River Green Apartments versus Paisley Roster, 2301884.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Elizabeth Ellison, P82098 for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Roster, you can step forward, please. Your name, please, for the record.
Paisley Rossler, yeah.
Are you picking her up? Karen? Okay. All right. And so, and who's the cute one?
Dimitri.
I'm not suggesting you're not, but he's a little baby. Hi, Dimitri. Okay. So, counsel, I know the two of you spoken. Was there a resolution?
There is not, Your Honor. You can proceed.
Okay. And so, is that the property manager that's here with you?
That is correct.
Okay, ma'am, if you can please state and spell your first and last names.
Carol Diver, CAROLEDIVER.
Okay. And Ms. Diver and Ms. Rosser, I'm going to have you each please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear from the testimony about to give this matter to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and so there's a complaint for non-payment of rent that in the amount of, but what is the current amount? Because I know we've adjourned this a couple times.
Your Honor, the current amount owing is $2,454, cost of $159.80. The balance is $2,613.80.
Okay, and Ms. Rossner, do you believe that do you agree with that amount?
No.
Okay, what amount do you think you owe? I need you to be loud so that we can pick you up on the recording.
Your Honor, I feel like I owe 1 month worth of rent, and then there is still some repair problems in my apartment. They came out and fixed it, and my apartment's not cooling.
Not cooling?
Yeah, and they put 2 mice traps and 1 got caught, but there's still more coming out of my stove.
Okay, so, okay. So you had an issue with your heating and cooling?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And when was that issue communicated to River Green Apartments?
Verbally, I know most of the times were when I went down and recertified my papers.
Okay, when was the most recent time?
I'd say when I had my godfather go down there, he was supposed to tell her that my air conditioning was down. From my knowledge, he said he did.
Okay, but ma'am, that's you're the individual that's on the lease, correct?
Yeah.
So you're bringing this to the court's attention, and that this is your defense, it appears, as to why you should not have to pay the rent. So I need some documentation or something other than what somebody else you think was supposed to do. Ms. Diver, was there ever any communication, or I'm sorry, when was the communication regarding the heating and cooling issue?
I had, yesterday she came into my office and said the heat furnace was not working properly, the air was not working properly. Prior to that, we had Airworks, it's a contracting company that we use, they came out and they replaced our heat exchanger.
Okay,
And then.
when was that?
The 15th or the 18th or the 19th of September.
The 15th, 18th, or
I mean,
19th?
they came out on the 18th of
Okay,
September and they replaced a heat exchanger. Yesterday, she came into my office at 3:50 and said it still was not it was acting up, making noise. So I contacted my maintenance man, he went there, he couldn't get it to work. Airworks came out there this morning at 9:37 a.m. But I left to come here.
okay. And were they still at your apartment this morning?
No, they left. They said it's a piece that they have to replace and they won't be able to get it until next week.
Okay, and so when did you first bring when did, Ms. Diver, were you first informed of the issue regarding the furnace, the heating and cooling?
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes,
On September the 5th, there was a call that said she was locked out of her apartment. So the maintenance man immediately went over there and she wasn't locked out of her apartment. She told them the air wasn't working.
It was
The
my.
air.
Hold on, ma'am, I cannot have you interrupt. I'll give you an opportunity to respond. I cannot have you interrupt at all. Okay, please?
At that time, Your Honor, he went and looked at her air. And then his follow-up is that, I addressed the air conditioning problem. It was a bad capacitor, put on a new one. It was working again. He told Ms. Rosser he would check back. It stopped working after 45 minutes. And then he called the company out to work on it. And then after calling the company out, Ms. Rosser must have left because she didn't answer her door, and they came out again on 9/6/23.
Okay,
And it's air works again. So they're actively working on the problem, but September 5th is the first time that they were made aware of it.
okay. And so what is the monthly rent?
Your Honor, the monthly rent, at that time, Your Honor, was $581 plus a $25 late fee every month. So,
Okay, I'm just trying to figure
Yeah,
something else out first, so.
Okay.
Okay, so Ms. Rossiter, what month do you think that is the only month that you would owe rent from?
Yeah.
June?
Can I add, they walked in my apartment without me being present. So I don't understand why that's the problem now, why they couldn't come in and fix it while I was gone, or, because they've done it multiple times before in the past.
Okay, and, how do you know that they were in your home without you being there?
When I told them, in September about the, furnace being, messed up, I had the air conditioning thing in the window, and when I came back, the air was fixed, and then the thing was out of the window. The air conditioner, Your Honor.
The window unit was removed from your window?
Yeah,
Who put the window unit in there?
I did, me and my friend. Because it was 93 degrees in my house.
Okay, and so you're indicating that maintenance or somebody came into your apartment and removed it?
My air was working again for a little bit of time.
Okay, and do you know anything about that, Ms. Diver?
I do not recall.
And Ms. Rossiter, what month would that have been?
It was around the time that I called them saying I was locked out of my apartment, trying to get some help getting my air conditioning fixed.
Okay, so the beginning of September?
Yes,
Okay, so you believe you only owe for the month of June?
yes.
And council, the months that are being requested are what months again?
Your Honor, those months are June, July, and August. And Your Honor, I would also like to make a statement. The only time that the company entered was July, when they had to do their annual HUD inspection, Your Honor. They gave notice. She was not home. They gave notice on the door that's required by HUD. When they went in there, she didn't have any electricity. So I don't believe she was staying in there in the month of July, but she still, is responsible for it. But they didn't write her a violation because you have to have electricity. So that was the month of July when they did their annual HUD inspection, Your Honor.
Okay. And so, ma'am, did you have electricity in the month of July?
No, Your Honor. You got shut off. But I got it on now.
I'm sorry, you got shut off what?
I got it. It shut off for about a week.
Okay, so, Ms. Ellison, I'm calculating the June, July, and August rent to be $1,743 for those 3 months, plus $75 in late fees is $1,818. And you're indicating $2,454 before court costs. So I'm trying to figure out where the other $600 and odd dollars is.
June, July, August, and September, Your Honor.
Oh, and September.
Yeah. And
Okay,
then there was.
you just indicated June, July, and August, so that's what,
Oh,
that's okay.
Your Honor, there was a $55 balance that carried over for the month of May. It looks like one was a late fee because she paid her rent late in the month of May. And she
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Including the September rent and then the $55 balance, that's where, okay,
Okay.
all right. And so ma'am, why do you believe you don't owe for July?
Because I didn't work during that time, and I tried to communicate that to her, and she cut me off and said, we're just gonna evict you. When she found out my friend's boyfriend was staying with her, she gave her the chance to come down. She told her to come down and fill out paperwork. From what I recall, that's an instant eviction when you don't put somebody on the thing that's been staying for more than 6 months at their place. So, and she never told me, I don't know what it is, but I don't know, I never disrespected her, I never treated her wrong in any type of way, so I don't understand why she treats me the way she does, but I feel like that was something that should have been communicated instead of just telling me that you're evicted. I feel like she should have communicated to me that we're gonna evict you, but you're still responsible for turning in that certification. From what I said before, I didn't know that during an eviction process, I still had to turn in paperwork. And I don't think that even says that in the lease. So.
What doesn't say, what's not stated in the
Like,
lease?
during an eviction process, you still have to return in paperwork to recertify and all that.
I'm not understanding that.
I've never, what I'm saying is I've never been told how the eviction process works in there. I never was made aware that I'm still responsible to turn in paperwork while I'm being evicted.
Well, ma'am, if your statement is that you are receiving Section 8 housing assistance and you need to turn in your paperwork to be recertified so that you don't owe any additional money, one would think that you would want to turn that in. And I'll also clarify that River Green Apartments, if you have additional questions as to how certain processes work, you certainly have the right to have an attorney. You have the right to have an attorney today. You have the right to contact free legal aid or low-cost legal services.
I didn't know, because when the first time I had an attorney, but the second time I didn't, and then I tried contacting legal aid, but they haven't reached out to me yet. They couldn't help me, so I would have liked to have a lawyer, but.
Okay, well, we don't appoint a lawyer for these purposes. When did you reach out to legal aid?
Last week, when it was Tuesday or Wednesday before court.
Okay, and when were you served with this complaint?
I was served about, I don't remember, I'm sorry. It's a lot of stuff going on. I have a horrible memory system, but I don't remember, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Allison, when was the notice to quit served?
Your Honor, I'll pull that up. I do believe we were here for our first hearing in August, Your Honor. This is our third hearing, but I will pull that up right now.
It only showed the September 19th, but I feel like you were present before that date.
Yeah, our other date, Your Honor, we were here September 18th. It was adjourned to the court to 9/8 at 8:50. And then we were here 9/8, and then it was, this is our fourth hearing. And then it was adjourned to 9:15, and now today's date.
Okay.
That's technically our fourth, Your Honor.
Okay, so ma'am, you did have an opportunity to contact legal aid or otherwise back in August.
I have.
And the fact that you're not working doesn't mean that you're not obligated to pay rent. Is there anything in your lease that would suggest that?
If I'm not working?
Correct.
Yes, the paperwork that I turned in will say $0 and right from here on out, but, yeah.
What paperwork?
The questionnaire, and then I got the birth certificate turned in and his social security number, and which I didn't know that she could do through her office. I've been struggling calling friends of court for them to send paperwork in the mail, but this time she ended up having some type of paper that I could have signed.
Okay, so when did you receive that documentation?
When I went down and turned in this birth certificate.
I don't know when that was.
It was about, I think, 2 days ago.
2 days ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward, $0. But what about for the months of June, July, August, and September?
Well, Your Honor, when I got on the phone with her and I tried to explain the situation.
Who's her?
The property manager.
Ms. Diver?
Yes.
Okay.
I tried to explain to her about the paperwork and stuff, and she just cut me off and said that we're just gonna evict you. So I didn't know that I had to, still turn that in during the eviction process.
Well,
That
ma'am,
wasn't made
if
clear to me.
if you don't turn it in for the state to cover your cost, who else covers the cost?
It was, I don't know, maybe it was a communication, but when I was telling her about the paperwork, when I was trying to tell her about it, she cut me off and said, we're just gonna evict you, so.
I don't know what, when you're saying you're telling her about the paperwork, what were you telling her?
I was like, I started off by telling her, like, it's a lot going on, I've been trying to, get stuff in, and she's, oh, we're just gonna evict you, and the call ended. It was done after that. So,
Okay, and when did that occur?
the month of June.
Okay, do you recall that conversation, Ms. Tyler?
No, I do not. She did call, and I told her, I said, you need to bring in the verification. You stated that you're no longer employed. I said, I need you to come into the office to do a checklist. I said, I need a birth certificate and other verifications from you. And then after I had that, and I said, I need that, or we will have to go forward with the eviction because you're not complying with the lease agreement. Then, 6/5, a gentleman came into my office with this checklist. And I told him, I said, please have her contact me because I have to get more verification, and he just brought me this checklist. That's as far as that was.
Okay. So Ms. Rossiter, it appears as though the apartment complex was quite patient in waiting for you to submit the paperwork. Has all the paperwork been submitted now?
Yes, she brought most of it in last week, and I did an IR on her paperwork. My question is, if she was able to bring this to me so quickly within 2 days, why didn't she do it back when she?
Well, that's where I was going. That's why I was asking if you have it all now. And so, ma'am, now that you're faced with eviction, you got all the paperwork. Had you gotten all the paperwork in back in June, we wouldn't even be here.
Girl, that's not what she said, because I remember telling my sister, my aunt, my godfather, my mom, I was so upset about the situation with how she talked to me that day. That is a lie. She never told me that.
Okay, and here's what I'm going to say as well. Sometimes there are different takeaways from conversations. So I'm not going to get into what the exact conversation was on either end, right? I've heard from her and I've heard from you regarding that conversation. But at the end of the day, that conversation does not have an impact on this court proceeding. You were able to get everything that you needed to get within the last week and a half. You could have done that back in June, and you wouldn't even be here today, I would presume. And you didn't. And so the fact that you weren't working in July, August, and September does not negate your obligation to pay rent. And moving forward, you may not have to pay rent because you have all of your documentation now. Did any communication come down from the Section 8 housing unit indicating that they were covering your June, July, August, and September rent?
I've been reaching out to, I'm waiting on DHS to call me for just in case if they do charge me the $2,613, I think she said. Yes. At first, they didn't accept me when I applied the first time because I forgot what the reason was, but I contacted them again. I'm just waiting to hear from them.
Okay. So ma'am, I can understand your situation, but what I'm going to indicate is that there is not a legal basis to not enter this judgment. The heating and cooling issue that was brought to the attention of the property manager was addressed, and it continues to be addressed.
And the mice problem that's been going on, which she said was our fault, the tenant's fault, because we leave the door open when we bring our groceries up. Well, how are we supposed to bring our groceries up?
Okay, and I can understand that. And they're working, they put mice traps in there, right? When you say all the mice, how many mice are there?
I've killed 6 alone, and I've seen multiple more with my own traps.
And when did you bring the issue of the mice to the attention of Ms. Diver?
It has to have been in the winter time. I can't give an exact date, but it was around the winter time when they first started coming.
Okay, and Ms. Diver, when were you first notified regarding the mice?
She contacted me a few months ago. We gave her some mouse traps, and then on May 25, 23, Able Pest Control did the whole building, a building free. And after that, I have not heard from her stating she still had a mouse problem.
What was that, ma'am?
I have. spoken
Okay,
to
so
my-
what did Able Pest Control do?
They went in and sprayed, it's odorless. And they sprayed, and then I haven't heard anything from Ms. Rossiter since, until I was in her unit 2 days ago to take care of a couple of work orders that she addressed last week when we was on the Zoom meeting with you. And she said that she still had mice problems, so we gave her some mouse traps, and I did call Able Pest Control, and we're gonna be out next week to go through her unit again.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Because last week she stated that I didn't open my door, so, and she said probably because my VT was off and my house was supposedly, junky or whatever she said, that don't make sense to me. But they supposedly came in and sprayed, but then they're saying maybe because I didn't want to open my door, so I'm kind of confused on that one.
Yes, Council.
Your Honor, they sprayed in May, so I have no idea what she's speaking of, and they went out there 2 days ago to address concerns that she made last Friday when we were about to enter the judgment. Then they will be out again next week. Whatever she's referring to, it's nonsensical, because I'm not sure what she's speaking of.
Right,
We
yeah,
talked about a conversation that I didn't.
right. So Able Pest Control was out in May, right? What conversation are you speaking of?
Over the Zoom call, I forgot what her name is, Allison or, Elizabeth, I think, I'm not sure. She said maybe she didn't open her door because her DCE was off and, her house was in, sustainable. It's on the Zoom call, so. But now they're sprayed, I don't understand that. But there's still mice in my apartment. And I have a recent video of a mice crawling out of my stove.
Okay. And what was the date of that video?
I can, do you mind if I look at my phone?
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may. Your Honor, if I may, if she doesn't bring these issues to the management, and we only when we got to court did we make aware of these, and we've been actively resolving these issues. So, in regards to whatever conversation that I had on the record last week, I reassure that it's being taken out of context, because that's not the conversation, but I'll leave that to.
Okay.
Is there some sort of Wi-Fi I can get into to get on, the app?
Is it an app or is it on your text messages?
It's an app.
Okay, there is, I don't recall, we just have new stuff. Do you know what it is? I don't, I have to see what that is. And I will look at that, but I will also state that it does not, it appears as though when those issues are brought to the attention of management, that they are being addressed immediately.
Your Honor, I have addressed them. Anytime that I went down there and recertified, because I've lost jobs in the past, anytime that I went down there and recertified, I brought them to her attention. Some nights it's not a problem, but other nights they are a problem. I hear them climbing on my stove and getting into stuff, and sometimes it's not an everyday thing. I may see them once a week or twice a week or more times than that in a week. So yeah, I don't call her every day when they're not coming. I might think the issue's resolved, and then I see another one come.
Okay. And so, Ms. Diver, have any other units had any issues regarding mice?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry?
My neighbor next door to me, she told me that, cause she has a cat, so her cat scared the mice away, out of her apartment. But, she said that she has some more in her. And, my neighbor across the hall from me told me that the last lady that was there had some type of roaches or something in mice. And she was a really filthy person, like she had a whole bunch of stuff in there and all that. So I believe this has been a problem for a while now.
Okay. All right, well, the court's going to
Can you send that to me?
say after hearing or after a trial that there's going to be a judgment entered in favor of the plaintiff. Or has not heard any reason that the defendant would be obligated to not, or would not be obligated to pay rent. While the court can appreciate that Ms. Rossiter was out of work, she did not submit the required documentation as required that would then reduce her obligation to zero from the months that she was not working. She now has received that information, and moving forward, she owes $0. But as of now, there isn't anything that would indicate that Ms. Rossiter has her June, July, August, and September rents covered by that same housing voucher through Section 8. And maybe housing assistance, I don't know, there's not any written documentation of that effect. And so at this point, and the court will also indicate, as of the repair issues on the mice issue, the testimony would suggest that when the issues were brought to the attention of management, that those issues were addressed in a reasonable and appropriate time. And so the court is going to indicate after trial that plaintiff does have the right to recover possession of the property. The amount now due and owing for unpaid rent and other costs is $2,613.30, or 80 cents. If that amount is not paid on or before October 2nd, the court or the plaintiff may request an order, may apply for an order of eviction. Partial payment will not prevent the court from issuing an order of eviction. The court will also indicate that additional money may be owed if damage to property occurs or rent continues to accrue, and no new judgment will enter at this time. Anything else, counsel?
Your Honor, I prepared a judgment, I don't know if you would like.
I can sign that, and then Ms. Rossiter can take that to DHS and perhaps
There's 3 copies, Your Honor.
proceed accordingly. They may be able to proceed accordingly.
There's 3 copies of the same thing.
Okay, thank you. All right, and ma'am, were you able to pull up that video?
No, my other phone broke, so it's not in this one, and I need Wi-Fi to download.
My court officer just gave you the Wi-Fi.
Oh, I wasn't sure what that was.
And so Ms. Rossiter and Ms. Ellison, you can stop by the window and
I went out and grabbed my goddad's phone, because it's not letting me download on my phone. It's making me put in a password I don't have. Is it okay if I run out and grab a phone?
okay, yes, you can. I didn't realize you had anybody here with you, because otherwise I would have probably had you have your son stay with your godfather.
He was making some phone calls, so I thought it was best.
Okay, and ma'am, I can understand that, but this is a court proceeding, so this would probably trump those phone calls as far as that goes, but
I can leave them out there.
okay, and so if you want to grab the phone, and then I'll take a look at that
Okay.
to see where we're at with that information. Let's go off the record.
Will you hand me my screen box?
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ma'am? Ma'am? Can you hear it?
No, no.
Okay.
I have no patience for that. And trust me, out of the day, I'm sitting up here, I'm the one that needs the drink.